Bienvenidos and welcome, viewers and students. In the last lesson, we have learned about expressing your opinion and views on a given topic and theme. I hope you have been able to learn the same and internalize the expressions which are important and useful in communicating your point of view to the interlocutor. In today's session, we shall look at some important expressions which are necessary for asking things and in the formulation of questions and responding to them. We shall learn the direct and indirect object nouns in Spanish, which are used a lot in day-to-day communications. In everyday life, you may be required to ask or inquire about certain things for your daily use. Let's take a look at the following conversation between a client and a salesperson at a clothes shop. María, la dependienta. Juana, la clienta. Juana: Buenos días. María: Buenos días, señora. ¿En qué puedo servirle? Juana: Quería una camiseta para mi sobrina. María: ¿Qué talla tiene? Juana: Una 40, pero ahora está un poco más delgada. No sé. María: Bueno, ¿y de qué color? Juana: Pues no sé. Fácil de combinar, azul o blanco. María: ¿Esta? Juana: Sí, esta es perfecta. Si hay problemas, ¿puedo cambiarla? María: Claro, con el ticket de compra. Juana: Muy bien. ¿Cuánto es? María: 25 euros. Juana: Aquí tiene. Muchas gracias. María: A usted. I'm sure that you followed the conversation quite well, isn't it? In the conversation, Juana, the client, wants to buy a t-shirt for her niece. Then Maria, the salesperson, asks about the size and color of the t-shirt. And finally, the client asks if she can change the cloth if there is any problem. To which she replied that of course you must be knowing the expression claro in English is of course. Claro. She can change it with the receipt. The conversation ended with paying for the cloth and thanks. In the conversation, you have observed that le and la are used. Le referring to the señora and then la for camiseta, the t-shirt. These types of pronouns are called object nouns as they are normally used as a grammatical object, either as a direct or indirect object of a verb or as an object of a preposition. Object nouns are of two types in Spanish: direct object nouns and indirect object nouns. Below is the list of direct object nouns and indirect object nouns in Spanish. Direct object nouns: person, number, singular, plural. First, me for singular, nos for plural. Second person, te for singular, os for plural. Third person, lo or la for first person singular and los or las for first person plural. Indirect object nouns: for first person, me for singular, nos for plural. In second person, te for singular, os for plural. And in third person, le for singular and les for plural. In English, we use the same pronouns for both direct and indirect objects. In Spanish, as you can see the above table, both types of object pronouns are the same except in the third person. The third person singular direct object pronouns are lo for masculine and la for feminine, while in the plural they are los and las. But the indirect object pronouns are le and les in the singular and plural respectively. No distinction is made according to gender. Direct object nouns. Direct object nouns are those pronouns that represent the nouns directly acted upon by the verb. Indirect object nouns stand for the noun, that is, the recipient of the verb's action. In Spanish, a verb may have no object, a direct object only, or both direct and indirect objects. The following examples will make it clearer. I study, estudio, a verb with no object. I write a letter, escribo una carta, a verb with a direct object. I write a letter to her, escribo una carta a ella, a verb with both direct and indirect object. In the first example, there is no object. In the second, there is a direct object, a letter. And in the third one, both direct and indirect object nouns are present. Una carta is the direct object and ella is the indirect object. Some more examples are: doy el libro de gramática. I give the grammar book. In this sentence, el libro de gramática is the direct object, so it is replaced by the direct object pronoun, singular and masculine in nature, which is lo. Now, the same sentence can be expressed using object pronoun as lo doy. I give it. Here is another example. Hice los deberes ayer. I did the assignment yesterday. Now, the same sentence can be expressed using object noun as los hice ayer. I did them yesterday. We have used los in place of los deberes, which is direct object pronoun in this case. We'll see a small conversation using direct object pronoun. Claudia: ¿Hiciste los deberes, Miguel? Miguel: Sí, ya los hice. Claudia: ¿Cuándo los hiciste? Miguel: Los hice ayer. In the above conversation, los deberes has been substituted by los. Now, let's see some examples of indirect object pronoun. Javier no me dio el regalo. Javier didn't give me the gift. In this example, me is an indirect object pronoun. Now, let's see the positioning of the pronouns, because in Spanish they are placed before the verb, unlike in English. There are 5 places an object pronoun may be placed in a sentence in Spanish: directly before a conjugated verb, tagged on to the end of an infinitive of a verb, thus forming a longer word. Third, with the command, imperative form. Here there are 2 possibilities: A, tagged on to the end of a command, which is imperative form. Second, before a negative command. Fourth, tagged on to the end of a present participle ing form, which is the gerund form. First, directly before a conjugated verb. We can use both a direct object pronoun and an indirect object pronoun in the same sentence. Both of the object pronouns are going to be placed in front of the verb, but we need to pay attention to the order. The indirect object is always going to come in front of the direct object. Therefore, the sentence order will be subject plus indirect object pronoun plus direct object pronoun plus verb. For example, mi madre me los regaló. My mom gave them to me. In this example, me and los are indirect and direct object pronouns respectively. Another example: ¿Quién te regaló el anillo? Who gifted you the ring? Mi novio me lo regaló. My fiancé gifted it to me. In the above example, me and lo are indirect and direct object pronouns respectively. ¿Quién te enseña el español? Who teaches you Spanish? La profesora me lo enseña. The professor teaches it to me. In this one, may and lo are indirect and direct object pronoun respectively. In all the above examples, we have used direct and indirect object pronouns before the verb as per the order indicated earlier, that is, subject followed by indirect object pronoun followed by direct object pronoun followed by the verb. Let's look at the below small conversation for better understanding. Juan: ¿Qué estás escribiendo? Pablo: Escribo una carta. Juan: ¿A quién estás escribiéndola? Pablo: Se la escribo a mi madre. Juan: Oh, vale. In English, this will be: Juan, what are you writing? Pablo: I'm writing a letter. Juan: Whom are you writing it to? Pablo: I'm writing it to my mother. Juan: Oh, okay. In the above dialogue, Juan has substituted la in place of carta while asking the question to Pablo. This la is a direct object pronoun. While responding, Pablo has used both direct as well as indirect object pronoun. Here, the indirect object pronoun le has been substituted by se. Now, let us see substitution of se in place of le and lace. In order to avoid alliteration, if we have two object pronouns in a row that begin with the letter L, we always change the first pronoun to se. That means that anytime le or lace is combined with lo, la, los or las, the le or lace becomes se. This rule only applies to L words. Me, te, nos and os are unaffected. And since the indirect object pronoun always comes first in the sentence, you will only ever substitute se for le or lace and never lo, la, los or las. Now, second point, tagged on to the end of an infinitive of a verb, thus forming a longer word. The second way to put the object pronouns is to add them to the end of the infinitive or to use them before the verb. For example, no quiero comprarlo or no lo quiero comprar. I don't want to buy it. Another example, no quiero comprártelo. No te lo quiero comprar. I don't want to buy it for you. In this example, comprar is in infinitive form. We can add either object pronouns to the end of this verb, or we can also use them before the verb as shown in the above examples. Some more examples pertaining to this category are: Él quiere enviarte una carta. Te quiere enviar una carta. He wants to send you the letter. El profesor va a decirnos la respuesta. El profesor nos va a decir la respuesta. The professor is going to tell us the answer. Now, the third point, with the command or the imperative form. Here, the first possibility is that it's tagged on to the end of a command in imperative form. The third way to use the object pronoun in a sentence is to add them to the end of the imperative form of the verbs to the commands. For example, dinos la verdad. Tell us the truth. Cállate, Juan. Shut up, Juan. Llámame mañana. Call me tomorrow. Préstame tu diccionario. Lend me your dictionary. Let's see a small dialogue now. Pablo: ¿Hago la cena? María: Sí, hazla ya. Tengo hambre. Pablo: Do I make the dinner? María: Yes, make it now. I'm hungry. Escríbele una carta. Write a letter to him or her. Escríbele una carta a tu madre. Write a letter to your mother. In all these examples, the object pronouns are attached at the end of the command. In the first one, nos is attached to di, imperative form of decir. In the second one, te with kaya, and so on. In the last example, le, an indirect object pronoun, has been used which can have all the three translation. But in real communication scenario, this becomes very obvious as to whom this le refers to. But we also use the subject pronoun at the end of the command of this type to make it clearer. For example, escríbele una carta a él. Escríbele una carta a ella. Escríbele una carta a tu madre. The first one being write a letter to him. The second one, write a letter to her. And the third one, write a letter to your mother. Before a negative command. The fifth way to use the object pronouns in a sentence is to use them before the negative commands of the verbs. For example, Javier, hago la cena. Elena, no lo hagas todavía. Es pronto. Javier, do I make the dinner? Elena, no, don't make it. It's early. Here, the direct object noun lo has been used before the command hagas. Fourth possibility, when the object pronoun is tagged on to the end of a present participle, which is the ing form. The fourth way to put the object pronouns is to add them to the end of the present participle form of the verb. The present participle form of the verb is also called the gerund form or popularly ing form of the verb. For example, comprando, escribiendo, viviendo, etc. All of them are gerund of the verbs comprar, escribir, vivir, respectively. We have already done one example of this category. Let's have a look at the same example once again. Juan, ¿qué estás escribiendo? Pablo, escribo una carta. Juan, ¿a quién estás escribiéndola? Pablo, se la escribo a mi madre. Juan, oh, vale. Juan, what are you writing? Pablo, I am writing a letter. Juan, whom are you writing it to? Pablo, I am writing it to my mother. Juan, oh, okay. In the above dialogue, Juan has substituted la in place of carta while asking the question to Pablo. This la is direct object pronoun. While responding, Pablo has used both direct as well as indirect object pronoun. Here, the indirect object pronoun le has been substituted by se. The object pronouns, as you can notice, have been used attaching them to the end of the gerund form of the verb. La has been added to escribiendo. Now, let's look at the below paragraph, which is about the instructions of recipe Spanish omelette using the verbs and appropriate pronouns. Para hacer tortilla de patatas, pele unas patatas. Córtelas en láminas finas. Eche sal a las patatas y fríalas en aceite muy caliente. Corte un poco de cebolla y fríala con las patatas. Luego, bata 2 huevos y mézclelos con las patatas. Ponga la masa de patata y huevo en la sartén y fríala un par de minutos. Dé la vuelta a la tortilla y cuando esté dorada, póngala en un plato limpio. I want you to translate it for yourselves and try to make it and learn the object pronouns. I hope you would enjoy it. We'll see other usages and more practice of the object nouns in the next lesson. One more important fact to remember for you is that in Spanish, the indirect object pronoun must refer to a person or animal. To summarize, in today's lesson, we have learned the idea of direct and indirect object pronouns. We also saw some examples explaining these grammatical concepts and how they are used in sentences and conversations. In the next lesson, with some more interesting things, for now, practice these object pronouns and the conversation which we have learnt. That's for today. Gracias. Buena suerte. Adiós. Hasta luego.